I get it. I get it. All right. But I'm going to tell you this, though. I think that you're messing up, because if she is the primary caregiver, of your children, that's one of the worst things that you can do is try to, call shots like you're there. Let's compare it to, when you were in the military, right? One of the worst things that frustrates people, especially frustrates, not only NCOs or whatever the case may be, but, frustrates people is when you try to, I'll even say NCOs, right? When you got an officer or you got somebody that tries to call shots, when you're not boots on the ground. And granted, I guess that's a little bit different because in context, they may see things or know things ahead of what you may know on the ground. But, let's just talk about in theory without some of the other extras, right? If you're not there and they have to call the shots, let her be mom, and I understand your position probably more than but there are such things that people may not understand, such as permissible environments and non-permissible environments. I know you're getting the flack from, people coming up to you talking about, that you're not there, I get it. So let me explain to you something, and then I'm going to ask you the question. Matter of fact, I'll ask you the question and then explain to you what it is, and then, I like your answer. Is your environment a permissible environment? Okay, well, let me explain to you what a permissible environment means. Have you ever heard of Kevin Samuels? Okay, good. So that's a triggering name for some, but whether some people like his name or not is irrelevant. It's the lesson that's behind this. So he is known for saying that men control access to relationships. In other words, men propose. Men, are the ones who propose the start of a courtship and a relationship and a marriage and things like that traditionally. And women control access to sex. Don't believe it? Try to have sexual encounters with a woman and let her say no, and then you continue to pursue. You're running into harassment, you're running into rape allegations, all other kinds of stuff. So, we know those things to be true. But I will even go you so further to say women control access to parenting too. Let me provide context. So when I say women control access to parenting, I mean that, if your child is born and you all are not married, okay, which is that the case for you all? Right. Okay. So you're not married. I just wanted to confirm, that again. So by law, the child is automatically the mom's. You have to qualify, take a paternity test, sign the birth certificate, other things to establish you are the father. But by law, the baby is automatically the mommy's, right? Go to any type of court and you will find that you have to jump through hills to have a determination made that woman is not fit. But for a man, it is an easier determination to make it where that man is not fit. Why? Because in certain communities, whatever the case may be, women are considered to be more nurturing. The little girls get more training to take care of and maintain a physical specimen. I'm not talking about raising and teaching. That's a different story. We're talking about maintaining a physical specimen, actually feeding, clothing, providing shelter, things like that. That has nothing to do with teaching. That has just everything to do with the acquisition of materials and resources to be able to maintain the human specimen so that it can continue to go through the growth, the human growth cycle. You see what I'm saying? And that's different from actually having things to teach that maintain the human specimen, what to do in life and the things that it needs to be able to, survive on its own beyond the maintenance, right? And so you have to go through hoops to be able to prove that this person cannot maintain, right? And so what I mean by permissible and non-permissible environments, right? Like I said, women control access to parenting, right? So 9 times out of 10, the mom is going to be given custody, right? Even if you have joint custody, right, the mom is going to be given the primary, custodianship in most cases, right? And so you're going to be the, non-custodial parent, the one who has to pay the support for, your child and things of that nature. And what I mean by non-permissible environments is there's a difference between an environment where she allows you, and I'm using that word strongly, right? She allows you the ability to be able to have a say beyond the court order, because you can get a court order where it says you have the say, but to actually have the environment where it is easy to say, to have a person who will listen and take your opinion into consideration and even execute your opinion because she trusts your leadership, your guidance, things of that nature. That is a permissible environment. You see what I'm saying? And I hate to say it, and it's sad to say that men who aren't married, there's another saying too, and I'm going to qualify this and then get back on topic, right? Kevin Samuels is also known for saying, marry before you carry, right? Well, marrying before you carry is not always the elixir or the fixer for problems that occur traditionally between baby daddies and baby mamas, right? Just because you marry someone doesn't mean you're not going to go through the same problems. That's just a marriage license is just the establishment of a human business. That's the only difference, right? Where you have other businesses that are corporations, S Corp, C Corp, LLCs, sole proprietorships. A marriage is like a business. It's just the love and sex and the environment makes you like the business that you operate in. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what I mean when I say permissible and non-permissible environments. Permissible environments are where you have cooperation between both parties, where you both can easily or without a great degree of difficulty listen to each other's opinions, and then even seek outside guidance, and then you two get together, and then you consult, and then you execute, you decide, and then you execute in the best interest of the child. That's a permissible environment. But even with a court order, that environment can be non-permissible too. In other words, let's just say you're a father with girls, right? And the mom only wanted you for your seed, right? Because, there's a song by Ace of Base. All that she wants is another baby. She'll be gone tomorrow. She leads a lonely life, which is the case for some. I don't want to say some or more. I just say it is the case for some women or most women. It just depends on your environment, the racial context, a whole bunch of other different things, but that's a longer conversation, excuse me. And so if all she wanted was your seed, and you, because of your unhealed issues, you were gullible enough, through trauma bonding to give it to her, and that's all she wanted you was for the baby, well, that's going to be a non-permissible environment because she got what she needed out of you. Let's just say within the context, you're talking about how the child is maintained and the funds to be able to maintain that. It could be through government assistance, right? Remember, I talked about this with you before, that I was in a room in Clubhouse where there was a woman who was saying that, Uncle Sam or the government or welfare is a better reliable system than a good percentage of you N-words, right? And so when you look at it like that, then it's like, well, I said it before. I think I talked to you about this before, but I'm going to reiterate it too. Economists have it where to take care of a child, it's $285,000 from 0 to 18 in 2021, right? And the biggest two expenses are housing and food. You get it, right? So if you're on Section 8 or government assistance, right, and then you're getting food stamps and other kind of EBTs and stuff like that, well, children for a woman becomes an additional qualifier for more money, right? You can't give the baby money without giving the mom, because it's the mom who's feeding the baby, right? You can't give the baby housing without giving the mom housing, because it's the mom who's housing the baby. You understand what I'm saying? And so when you look at those things in context, right, why does she need you? She doesn't need you, right? She doesn't need your money. She doesn't need anything that you have to offer, right? Because she's got the housing taken care of. She's got the food taken care of. Her and her baby or you all's baby, you know, whatever the case may be, you're taking care of, right? So in that context, right, it has to be where she wants you to be in the life of the child for it to be a permissible environment. Otherwise, why would she need to have you there? Regardless of whether it's your duty to support or not, we're talking about the environment and the mindset, right? So that's a non-permissible environment. Let's just say you have girls too, right? And she doesn't like you. Do you know how easy it would be for her to make some type of allegation about how you treat the children, and then that can make a non-permissible environment for you? Same thing if you had a little boy, right? Little boy touches, uncle touches too much on a little boy, things like that. Setting you up for criminal cases that make it where you have to choose your own security, and in some cases too, your own sanity, because you two were toxic in the beginning. You just didn't see it, but the responsibilities and other things throughout the duration of the relationship caused the toxicity to come to the forefront. The more you begin to learn and know each other and see each other past the band-aids that you all provided each other, now you're extremely toxic for each other. So to keep you from going to jail because you can't get along with her, you gotta stay away from her, right? Hopefully you have other resources that will allow you to be able to see your children, but even that becomes problematic, especially if you don't have a court order. You understand what I mean by permissible and non-permissible environments? And there are many more examples than I have even time to continue to, tell you within the context of this, because I want to get on, to the next topic within the time frame that we have, but that being said, is your environment a permissible environment that allows you, right? And to that, before you answer, I want to end with this, and then the floor is yours, right? It's a shame that we should even have to ask this question. That's a shame, right? Because in every other context, right, you think about it for the most part, when the planter plants a seed, and the ground, first of all, provided the farmer has done a great enough job to make sure that the ground was ripe for the nutrients and ripe for the production and the gestation, if you will, of that seed to get to the harvest. You see what I'm saying? When a farmer plants that seed into that fertile ground, when the farmer during the harvest retrieves what has come from it, right? And the continuous work by the farmer to water the land and, even nature doing its thing and provide sunlight in an artificial environment or even in a natural environment, right? Provided this stuff naturally happens. And if not, then the farmer has to do extra things on his own or her own to, provide nutrients and things like that during the gestation process. After that is over, the farmer owns what comes out of the ground. The ground no longer owns that. But in a parental context, right, the mother is the one who owns the seed, not the seed, but the product, the fruit of that, right? And then the father has to qualify. If you're married, it's both of yours, right? Automatically. But if you're not married, man, it's like it's not yours automatically. It belongs to the mom. The baby belongs to the mom, which is backwards. But, I get it. The mom is doing the feeding. The mom is doing the this. The mom is doing the that, and there's so many ways that we can go with that conversation. But I just want to tell you, to get back to my previous point and then to answer and to allow you the space to be able to answer your question, right? Understand that in the home, she, if you trusted her in the beginning to have the decision-making skills to be able to decide what's best for your child, the child that you all have together, you have to trust her that she is continuously making that decision. If in fact she's making that decision, just provide overwatch. Now, that could become difficult if you're in a non-permissible or, a non-permissible environment. It's easier if you're in a permissible environment. So to that end, What type of environment do you see yourself in within the context of your relationship with the mother of your children? Is it permissible or non-permissible?